Hey everybody, it's Damien from Guitar Journey here, and today we're going to learn how to do a guitar solo in any key, major, minor, doesn't matter, we're going to learn how to handle it. And you don't need to know a bunch of music theory in order to do that. Now, quick aside, yeah, music theory is awesome, okay? I use it all the time in my playing, even more so in my writing and my composing. But for today's lesson, you really don't need to know much music theory in order to be able to solo in any key. Instead, there are only two things that you need to know. Only two. And I bet you already know the first of these two things, okay? That is, you need to know a scale, okay? And you might even know a few different scales, or you might not know any scale at all. That's okay too. Whatever the case, I'm going to encourage you for today's lesson to focus on using a very basic pentatonic scale, okay? Whether you know it right now or not, the pentatonic scale is one of the most useful scales you will ever learn on guitar. And even though I'm coming up on 40 years of playing, I use it all the time in my own playing. You talk to any experienced player, I'm pretty sure they're going to tell you that they use it all the time as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and quickly teach you the pentatonic scale that we're going to use right now, okay? I'm going to demonstrate it, but I'm also going to include a downloadable, printable PDF. I'm going to put the link to that downloadable PDF diagram in the description to this video below, right about there, okay? So here's our basic pentatonic scale. We're going to put our index finger at the 6th string, on the 6th string at the 5th fret, and we're going to play two notes on each string. Two notes on each string, going from the 6th string to the 5th, to the 4th, to the 3rd, to the 2nd, and then to the 1st string. Two notes on each string. So on the 6th string, I'm going to hit the note at the 5th fret, fretting it with my index finger, and then I'm going to hit the note on the 8th fret with my pinky, like that. Quick aside, once again, you might not be comfortable using your pinky, and you might decide, oh, I'm just going to use my ring finger and just kind of stretch like that. Please don't do that, okay? Try to develop the strength and independence of movement of your pinky, okay? You'll be glad you did, okay? And also, just as kind of a best practices for right now, and of course there are always many, many exceptions, you want to have this mindset of like 1 fret per finger. So if my index finger's on the 5th fret, then my middle would be kind of around the 6th fret, my ring would be kind of around the 7th fret, pinky's at the 8th fret, okay? So getting back to the scale, index finger at the 5th fret, then I hit the pinky note at the 8th fret. I go to the 5th string, index finger at the 5th fret once again. I play a note with my ring finger at the 7th fret. 4th string, index finger at the 5th fret, ring finger at the 7th fret. 3rd string, index finger at the 5th fret, ring finger at the 7th fret. 2nd string, index finger at the 5th fret, pinky at the 8th fret. And on the 1st string, index finger at the 5th fret, pinky at the 8th fret. So when I play the scale going from lowest note to the highest note, it's going to sound like this. Like that. And of course, I want to practice it both going up and going down. Okay, so that's my pentatonic scale. Now we're going to talk about how you're going to move that scale around. Because being able to move that scale around to different places on the neck is what's going to enable us to play in different keys. So pretend you're in a jam session and somebody says, let's jam this song in A minor, A minor. Well, as it happens, the scale that you just learned, that I just demonstrated, is what is called our pentatonic scale in A minor. And if you're not already aware of this, it's totally okay. But this note right here on the 6th string at the 5th fret, the note that I started my scale on, that is an A note. Okay, that is an A note. Now, here's where things get really interesting. How do we play in different keys? There's something in music that is commonly referred to as the chromatic scale. Now, the chromatic scale isn't like a scale that you would play on the guitar. It's more just a listing in order of all the notes that we have in Western music. There are 12 of them. Now, I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail about the chromatic scale. I actually do have an entire video on the chromatic scale, and I'm going to put the link to that video in the description below, okay? But I promised you today at the outset that we wouldn't need to learn much music theory in order to be able to solo in all keys. I'm going to do my best to keep that promise, okay? But what you do need to do is try to memorize the chromatic scale. And even though, you can see it on the screen right now, I'm going to go a step further. I'm going to include a downloadable PDF of the chromatic scale as well, okay? And the link to the downloadable PDF, again, it'll be in the description below, right alongside the downloadable PDF of the diagram of the pentatonic scale, okay? So you get 2 PDFs from today. But in a nutshell, you just need to memorize the chromatic scale, no two ways about it, okay? And you need to understand that each place along the chromatic scale is going to equal 1 fret on guitar. So here's a very simple example. I told you a moment ago that this note on the 6th string at the 5th fret is an A note, right here. That's an A note. Well, when we look at our chromatic scale and find A, we notice that the very next place right after it is called A sharp. That number sign that you see, hashtag symbol, whatever you want to call it, that means sharp in music, okay? So if looking at the chromatic scale, if A sharp is one place after A, and this note right here on the 5th fret of the 6th string is an A note, well, guess what? The note here on the 6th string at the 6th fret is an A sharp note, okay? And continuing, take a look at the chromatic scale again. What is the next place on the chromatic scale after A sharp? You see that it's the letter B. It's a B note, and that means that on my guitar neck, if the 6th fret is an A note right here, then if I move up one more fret, 7th fret, that is a B note, okay? Quick aside, because I know sometimes this trips people up. When we're going along the fretboard towards the body of the guitar, we call that going up the neck, okay? And when we're looking at the chromatic scale, when we're going from left to right, that means we're going up the guitar neck. And of course, if we're going from right to left, we're going down the guitar neck towards the head, okay? Down the guitar neck is this way. And that confuses a lot of people because in terms of like physical space, you might think that, well, this is going down because it's going sort of downward, But we say that this is going up because the pitches themselves are getting higher. Here's, and then here's a note way up here. Of course, that's much higher in pitch, okay? So again, this way is up on the neck, left to right on the chromatic scale is going up the neck, okay? Let's take another step forward in terms of learning to solo in all keys. A moment ago, we played the pentatonic scale here at the 5th fret, and we called that the A minor pentatonic scale. Guess what? Remember that we learned the note right here at the 6th fret is called A sharp? Well, with my index finger here at the 6th fret, when I play my pentatonic scale, this is going to be an A sharp minor pentatonic scale. And the amazing thing is that we don't have to change the fingering at all. It's the exact same fingering. We're just playing everything 1 fret higher. So now we're playing A sharp minor rather than A minor. And remember a moment ago, we went 1 fret above A sharp. And according to the chromatic scale, we saw that this note at the 7th fret now is a B note. And if I play my pentatonic scale here, I'm playing a B minor pentatonic scale. So in other words, in order to be able to solo in all keys, all I really need to do is count places along the chromatic scale and then move my pentatonic scale to the correct fret. Now, just a tiny, tiny bit of terminology. When we're looking for a certain key, like let's say we were looking for B minor and we're going to play in B minor, this note here, the B note, we refer to that as the root note, okay? That B note, 6th string, 7th fret, if we're in the key of B minor, we call that the root note. Just a bit of terminology. The root note is the note that the key is named after, okay? Couple more examples. Let's say I now want to play in the key of G minor. G minor. Well, we're using our pentatonic scale in A minor as a starting point. Remember, that was right here at the 5th fret. Okay? Take a look at the chromatic scale and ask yourself, where is G in relation to A? And hopefully you can see that G is 2 places back from A, going this time right to left on the chromatic scale, 2 places back from A. And that being the case, I need to move my pentatonic scale down the neck by 2 frets. Remember, this way is down. So down the neck from the 5th fret to the 3rd fret, okay? From the 5th fret to the 3rd fret is going to give me G minor pentatonic. Yeah, same fingering. I'm going to give you one more example, but before I do, you might be asking, okay, you keep talking about minor keys, what about major keys? And I promise you, we are going to handle that in just a moment, and it's actually really easy. But let's just do one last minor key example, okay? Make sure we're really comfortable. Let's say you want to play in D minor. D minor. Take a look at your chromatic scale and count how many places we need to go to get from A, which is sort of our reference point here at the 5th fret, to get from A to D. And hopefully you can see that it's 5 places, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on your chromatic scale. And so if we're at A here at the 5th fret and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places up, that brings us to the 10th fret. And now we're going to play D minor pentatonic. Okay, same fingering once again. So the bottom line is that all you need to do in any minor key, all you need to do is look at the chromatic scale and figure out where the root note is for the key you're looking for, and then reposition your index finger and play your pentatonic scale from there, okay? And again, we're going to use A right here at the 5th fret as sort of a reference point, a starting point. A moment ago, I promised you that we'd talk about how to find major keys as well. Let's do that. And we're going to do it in a way that, once again, does not require knowledge of music theory beyond just knowing your chromatic scale. Again, super quick aside, some of you who have a music background, you might be saying, well, now we need to talk about the circle of fifths, we need to talk about relative keys. That's very useful information, but we actually don't need to get into that to accomplish our goal today. The goal today is to enable us to solo in all keys, major and minor, and to do so in a way that requires an absolute minimum of music theory knowledge. Okay? So we're not going to talk about all the other stuff, even though it is very useful. Instead, here's all you need to do. Right now, I want you to say to yourself, index means minor, pinky means major. Again, index means minor, pinky means major. And so what you're going to do is, if you're looking to play in a major key, you're going to locate the root note exactly as we did a few moments ago. But instead of putting your index finger on that root note, you're going to put your pinky on that root note and play the scale from there. Okay? Here's an example. We started this video off by playing our A minor pentatonic scale right here with my index finger at the 6th string 5th fret, okay? And we did our pentatonic scale from there. What if I don't want A minor? What if I want A major? Remember, index means minor, pinky means major. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my pinky, I'm going to locate the A note, which we know it's at the 5th fret of the 6th string, and I'm going to put my pinky on that note, and I'm going to play my pentatonic scale from there. Just like that. And as you can see, it's the exact same pattern, the exact same fingering. I'm just playing it once again in a sort of a different place on the neck is all. Okay? One more time. If I know my A note is right here, 6th string 5th fret, and I put my index finger on that note, I'm playing A minor pentatonic. But if I put my pinky on that very same note and I play my pentatonic scale from there, I'm playing A major pentatonic, okay? Let's do another example. Let's say that I want to solo in the key of D major, D major. You might remember that earlier in the video we found a D note at the 10th fret of the 6th string, right here. 10th fret of the 6th string, and when we did that, we played our D minor pentatonic scale. You remember that? Okay? So now, how do I play? That's D minor pentatonic. How do I play D major? Index means minor, pinky means major. So all I need to do, now that I've located the D note, it's at the 10th fret of the 6th string, as we said, I need to put my pinky on that note and play my pentatonic scale from there. Like that, okay? And again, I know I keep saying this, please notice it's the exact same fingering. So ultimately, here's what you want to take away from today's video. When you're looking to solo in a song, you want to have a two-step approach. Two-step approach. First step is you need to locate the root note. Remember, the root note is the note that the key is named after. So if somebody says, we're going to play an A, you need to locate an A note. If somebody says, we're going to play in C, well, you need to locate a C note. The second step to your two-step process, you ask yourself, are we playing in a major key or in a minor key? And if we're playing in a minor key, you've already located the root note. You're going to put your index finger on that root note and play your scale from there. But if we're playing in a major key, you're going to put your pinky on that root note and play your scale from there. It really is that easy. And we're not worrying about a bunch of music theory. All we need to know is our chromatic scale. A final note, okay? When you download your PDF from the download link that it's in the description to this video, you're going to notice that certain notes, the sharped notes, are sort of vertically aligned with another note, vertically aligned. So for example, when you look at the download, you might notice that your C sharp note is sort of vertically aligned with a note that we call D flat. You'll see a sort of lowercase cursive B immediately next to the letter D. And that lowercase cursive B is actually how we indicate what we call a flat note. And we don't need to go into a bunch of detail here. Just please remember, I did a whole video on the chromatic scale. If you want more detail, again, watch that video. But all you need to know for today is that sometimes notes go by two different names, okay? Like in the example I just gave you. C sharp can also be called D flat. And I know this may seem weird, but please don't overanalyze it. Please don't overthink it. Remember, we're doing our best to kind of avoid music theory today. All you need to know is that sometimes notes go by two names, and you really need to memorize both names. So take your PDF download and just recite it to yourself over and over. And you're going to say something like C, then C sharp or D flat, then D sharp or E flat, then E, then F, and so forth like that. Recite it like that so that you're learning both names of those notes that do go by two names, okay? And that, if you do that and put it into practice with today's lesson, you are good to go. So I do hope you enjoyed today's lesson. If you did, please hit the like button and also please hit the subscribe button as well. We got a ton of content here on the Guitar Journey channel and we're adding new content all the time. So please hit like and please hit subscribe. And if you'd like to, please leave me a comment as well. I love hearing from you. And hey, you know, maybe you have an idea for a future lesson. And if you do, leave me a comment. Tell me what you'd like me to cover. As I always say, we're building a community here, and I love the idea that we're all supporting each other on this amazing guitar journey, okay? Thanks so much. Have a great day.